Hi, it's Johnny Burgin here with another Chicago Blues guitar lesson, and I'm in beautiful Rhode Island right now, and I was thinking about some LC McKinley and really like his songs. So different on the Chicago scene at that time, it seems to me. Let's look at Strange Girl, because this is one of his real catchy ones, and then we'll do a little bit of Down with it. Strange Girl is a great guitar solo to learn note for note, which I'm not totally note for note on it, but I'm just going to kind of open up the whole discussion here. So it has this sort of hook to it, and let's do it. So it's an A flat. It has a kind of rhythm like this. Like that, you know, so you get that in your mind, and you go, and notice you don't want to do this. That just doesn't sound very good. He has this great way of sliding his notes, and then he does this nice little toe. See how I push that note just a hair? Yeah. Today's been one of them days. Here we go. Sometimes I hear this. That was wrong. I'm hearing the slide here sometimes. You got to slide on the 6th fret and the 4th fret of the D string. Now the same pattern. So this is root, 4th fret, E string with your 2nd finger, because then it's this part of this major scale fingering. Flat 7th. So that's the way to finger these notes. Then I don't know, I don't like doing this, so I do this. That's where I break the classic fingering and just do it the blues way. Same thing up here in D flat. Then he plays a really cool chord. Actually, he just goes doo doo, and that's a raise 5. But he doesn't play that. The orchestra or the horns play it. This chord is in "Looking for Trouble" by Eddie Taylor. It's in "Inflation" by Lonnie Brooks. It's all over the place. It's 7th on the G string, root on the B string, 3rd on the high E string. And it's in that other good song that I like by Eddie Taylor that it goes. And it's like that. But that's an A, of course, so this is an A flat. So it's 11th fret G string, 9th fret B string, 11th fret E string. And so he goes. And then he goes all the way down here to the 6th, 4th, and it's a D flat 7th. And then a raise 5, 9th chord, 5, 9th chord. Ba 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 ba. Do 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 do. Here we go. That was a little sloppy. It doesn't even, I don't think he even does that. He just goes. He has this way of simplifying things in such a nice way. So let's talk about this. Let's talk a bit about his fills. So you can just go da 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 do 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 A flat 6 do 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 do. That's your 9th chord. He slid it up 2 and back down 2. Da 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 da. This is nice. Do do do. Sliding 9th chords, right? From your 9th to 6th to a 9th. Or if you're Luther Tucker, you do it this way. So I went from full 6th chord here down and play the 9th. Because you know, if you play this note, that note sounds a little weird. So anyway, that's not how that happens on the record. It just goes. Yeah, I think he uses mostly downstrokes, like Lowell Fulson, that kind of thing. So now we get to the solo. Okay, the solo, he really lights it up, and I've got it a little bit wrong, but I'm gonna. This is a great solo to learn note for note, like I was saying. So, oh, before we do the solo, he does these crazy turnaround licks. He does it twice. The first time, he clearly plays some notes that maybe he didn't mean to play, but it came out pretty cool. He goes. So he started out with a 1, slid up to the minor 3rd, raised 5, 7th fret, and then he must have, and that's a flat 2nd. That is a 7th fret. I'm trying to figure this blues style like that. Let's try it again. You can go. That's the first time, and it had to be an error, because the second time he goes like this. Whoops, let's try that again. So it still has this sort of the 5 and the raised 5. You know, because they like those bass lines, like, you know, they use these raised 5s in these bass lines. In songs like Mother Earth and songs like Tad Hours. It was part of the deal. So yeah, that's weird. Here we go. Now make sure, slide it, really express these notes because they're sweet. And then he goes. Or you could play it here. So that's out of this D flat. You could do it here. And I think the second time he definitely does it here. And again, he's sliding these notes. Not to the point of absurdity, but he does it a lot. Like Fenton Robinson. You know, he has this way of sliding into his notes like that. And then let's see what happens after that. That was a hot mess. All right, let's try putting this solo together one more time. 2, 3. Now here's our cool chord. Now switch positions. Back to your chord. So I'm going to try this part again. That's the tricky part, is when he has this really graceful way of going into the 5. Now he lets him have it. Yeah. So I'm not playing it dead on, but practice is. Yeah, that was about right finally. So everything just changes the center of gravity when he goes to the 5. Otherwise it's kind of... You change your center of gravity to here. Yeah, have fun with it. All right, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and do just a little bit of the head of Down With It, another great tune by LC McKinley. Think about that major scale with the flat 7th, right? So let's try it. So it ends on a 6. It walks from the raised 5 to the 6. Change one note and you're in the 4. And then he just goes out of your 5 bar chord. Top 2 notes of your 5 bar chord here. Okay, so too bad that song doesn't have a smoking guitar solo. He just plays the same little melody there. But this is a fun one to play. In fact, I had a friend, her name was Jean Lyon. She had a band called the Barbie Army. And they did it more like a rock thing. It's like... over that. So, you know, you can take some of these melodies and put them into different tempos if you want to. But anyway, you know, I doubt any of you guys ever got to see LC McKinley since it was, you know, over 50 years ago that he passed. But maybe some of you did. And I'd love to learn more about him. Still got to check out his stuff with Curtis Jones. And join me on Patreon for weekly guitar chats, usually on Tuesdays, but sometimes they're different days. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tell your friends. Hope to see you on the road at a show. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.